This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
Live from the Raw Radio X studios in downtown Detroit, this is the IT in the D Show.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zabka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT in the D Show. No mercy.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Dig, you IT geeks. This is Dre DeMatteo from Sons of Anarchy. You are listening to IT in the D.
Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure! Come on in!
Hey guys, it's Time Hawk, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the IT and D Show.
Just where do you guys think you are? The Library of Congress? Detroit? Beyond the Sun? Any of those, right?
How are we not sponsored by PBR and Slim Jim yet? Damn it.
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
I used to hang out at the Magumbo Bar. It was a rough place, the seediest dive on the wharf, populated with every reject and cutthroat from Bombay to Calcutta. It's worse than Detroit.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
This is Robert Hayes, the Tet Striker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo Bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat stick.
Turn your microphone off. Just get out.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, John Kreese from the Karate Kid movie, and you're listening to IT in the D.
Why would, Buick put their cars next to, the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing. The alphabet. It's brilliant.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT in the D Show.
Hey, Jerry Slater. Hey, Jerry Slater. It's really good. Hey, Jerry Slater.
The Dirt Monster is in full effect here.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT in the D Show. Tough guy. Ho!
Are we at a break yet?
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do?
Ludicrous speed! Go!
It's the 45th anniversary of Apollo 11, the 30th anniversary of Revenge of the Nerds, and we're at episode 51 of the IT and the D Show. We're broadcasting to you live here in the Raw Radio X studios in the Russell Industrial Center, beautiful Midtown Detroit, Michigan. As always, the show is hosted to you by Mr. Monday Night, Bob the Sales Guy, Dave the Geek, Jeff the Voice of Reason. Tonight we are brought to you officially, because we have beer, by Falling Down Beer Company.
Because I remember to go on Saturday.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do we know what this is, by the way? It's on the top. So which one's that? Pale. Oh, it's the Pale Rider. That's the double strength pale ale.
Nice.
And then, of course, the other one is the Ninja Chicken.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll save that for later.
So we got a packed show in the house. We have Carolyn here from CKC Agency, who we owe our life to.
Hello.
We have,
in case you weren't listening, the entire opening of our show comes from that weekend.
Right.
Yes, right.
all thanks to you, ladies.
Our pleasure.
We have Matt here from i3 Detroit, and we have Dom here from Mess Bucket Comics. We're going to have a fun show. So, yeah, we're live.
Yeah, life's good. So I guess let's start off. We'll just talk about the thing that we'd like to give you.
Never happened.
So I was clicking through all the links about that, reading up on the history of it and whatnot, and the pop culture surrounding it, and of course the conspiracy theories, because you were joking about it last week. And every conspiracy theory that was ever forwarded about the whole "no, we never landed on the moon" has been completely debunked.
I told you, there's a job classification at NASA, and this is the greatest job title ever. Their job title is nerd.
Yeah.
NASA Education and Resource Directors. Their job is to go on message boards and Facebook and wherever there is evil of misinformation.
There's actually a Wikipedia profile picture of Bob.
Right. It's their job to combat it. Dun, dun, dun.
I think that's the dumbest, honestly. The reason why I think it's funny because it's the dumbest conspiracy theory ever. Right. Like, just on the Hollywood set. So we're trying to be first versus the Russians. And
Did you see that link I sent you about somebody who spliced together all the scenes from 2001?
Yes. Yeah, that was outstanding. So yeah, it is 45th anniversary, and I mean it's amazing. It's amazing when you think about it that there's more computing power in a Furby than there was in the lunar landing module.
Kidding me?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's stunning when you think about it.
The one that bothers me the most is Revenge of the Nerds being 30 years old.
Did you ever have a speak and spell?
Yeah.
A speak and spell has more logic and processing power.
All that was a red box that tried to make it say swear words. That's all that thing was ever good for. But the Revenge of the Nerds one gets me because exactly.
There you go.
Welcome. It's my favorite scene when they're...
I was going to have Are You Ready for the Sex Girls? But then I was like, no. No, not with women in the studio. No, that'd be rude.
This is when they find the house, right? And they're cleaning it
They're
up.
cleaning it
They're cleaning it
They have
out.
to have a montage of painting and wallpaper.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the robot.
Yeah,
looking
Poindexter,
around and,
corners.
What bugs me is when we were at Comic-Con the year before, and Takashi was one of the nicest people I ever met. Booger was awesome. Then you get to Skolnick, and it's like, you haven't done anything in 30 years, and you're a dick.
Is it Robert Carradine?
Yeah. And you're a jerk? Like, really?
I like how he calls the other guys out with their character names and not their real names.
He doesn't deserve... Actually, Revenge of the Nerds 2 was on the other day, and when they went to the beach...
Did you watch it?
Yeah, all the way through. And when they went to the beach, they're driving around my Cadillac. I had no idea. I took a bunch of pictures of it, and I was all happy. Like, that's my car!
But yeah, 30 years.
Well, 1984 was the year of awesome movies. Like that's 30 years for Ghostbusters, 30 years for Karate Kid, 30 years for Revenge of the Nerds, and 30 years for, what was the other one? There was some of the other John Hughes films.
Yeah, we're all just old and
kind of
done
sad.
now.
I think of all the crap coming out for our kids. Like, when I was your age, there's nothing.
Yeah, they're remaking all of our movies.
Exactly.
Yeah, the well was dry in 1987.
Actually, you know which movie I caught this weekend that was outstanding? I didn't expect it to be, but Ender's Game was great.
Loved it.
It was great.
Still haven't seen the movie.
We
so.
talked about this before it came out. We talked about this before it came out, and I had a lot of anxiety about that movie because, I mean, Ender's Game, Orson Scott Card.
Getting kind of ornery
well,
about it.
Well, dude, hands down, that is top 3 books
Sci-fi books
in my
of all
entire
time.
life.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't read.
Oh, you, dude!
He didn't have pictures. He may or may not have read it.
I have the entire I've got all of his the whole Ender's series. That book was the book that truly got me hooked on sci-fi. It really, really was. And so when they were talking rumors about the movie for 20 years.
Really?
It was on. It was off. It was on. It was off.
They did a really good job with it.
Well, and then there was all the hoopla that came out because Orson Scott Card, the guy that wrote the books, is a Mormon, and so they asked him a question about gay marriage, and of course he said he's against it, and so they were calling for boycotts and blah blah blah.
Off Superman.
Yeah, and
really?
So but yeah, I was worried about it, but they did a phenomenal job with the movie. They really
it looked
did.
like starting off it was going to be like a Spy Kids 3 or something crappy.
Yeah,
and totally. The thing I don't get, so I don't want to pick apart the story or anything, right? Spoiler alert. But, there wasn't anyone older than him. It said, okay, we're going to go back to kids and we're going to train them to fight this. There wasn't anyone in their 20s?
Well, so...
he was the only one?
Yeah.
It's like Hunger Games.
Well, so... And then that's a part they really didn't get into is... So, and what
happened to everybody?
They had already been deployed.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that was there were certain things in the book that they really couldn't get into too deeply, like the
Episode 1, The Last Hope,
right? But the whole thing with the video game that he found and the giant and all that stuff and the poison goblets and all that thing.
Yeah.
Much bigger storyline in the book, but you could only go so far with the movie, and I got it.
So one more on TV, and then we'll jump into good stuff. So I binge watched The Leftovers this weekend.
Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, I got nothing.
What is The Leftovers?
So, I thought it was just a bunch of people sitting around eating cold meatloaf, and it wasn't.
Bob's house on December 26th.
Hey, try the
on Super Bowl Monday.
So the story goes, no, you know the story. It's just 2% of the world's population disappears instantaneously.
Oh, so it's like Left Behind?
I think it's a
Is it a rip-off of that?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, so it picks up 3 years later when there's like all these weird cults and all this weird stuff going on. So yeah, I binge watched. The third episode is like,
okay,
dude, yeah, it's good. Last night was another one that was there were 4 episodes deep, so you can binge watch it in a weekend.
Okay.
Not a spoiler, but like they, it's not necessarily good people who are gone too. That's one of like the initial.
They can't
plot
figure it out.
points. Yeah, they don't think it's the rapture because not necessarily everyone who vanished is bad.
Well, you got
or
the one
good.
priest that's just getting the bad stuff and publishing that, trying to like make his call. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah.
But it's really well done. It's
not a direct ripoff though.
The one thing that I'm worried about is that it's going to be too losty and they're all in purgatory. And I pray that it's not that, because that pissed me off that I invested how many years of my life in Lost. And
what was it? Yeah, 5 or 6 years.
It wasn't purgatory, though.
Yeah, it was.
I don't want to get into it.
You're purgatory. So,
well, but there's one more big TV kind of story.
Rockford Files. 10 seconds. Talk about Rockford Files leaving. talk about poop for 10 minutes.
Jim Garner died. I mean, who didn't grow up watching the Rockford Files?
Didn't he replace Jack Tripper on the one show that he did with the chick from the Nerd Show? Stupid. I hate this song. It's the worst theme song.
Where do you find these, by the way?
My hard drive.
What's the show from Penny from the Nerd Show you watched?
8 Simple Rules?
Yeah, was that? Yeah, and didn't he take over
when John Ritter died?
Yeah.
Jack Tripper.
John Ritter.
Jack Tripper, yeah.
Jack Tripper was Three's Company. Right?
Yeah, but it was
John Ritter. Yeah,
but he's always Jack
when
Tripper.
he passed away.
Bob blurs lines between reality and TV shows.
If I've ever met him, it's Jack Tripper. Oh my god, dude!
Yeah, everybody we met, like Billy Zabka, we love him, but he was Johnny Lawrence all weekend.
Pretty much, yeah.
So when I think of James Garner, I just think of The Notebook.
Oh, okay.
Where's the Crickets app? Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
For sure.
Yeah, no, understandable.
All right, so jumping around real quick.
There is one more anniversary.
Of what? The cartoon?
No, the actual game. Dungeons and Dragons turned 40 years old.
Yeah, what was the link you sent? You said that it did nothing to promote good in society or something along those lines?
They were talking about, so it's been 40 years of D&D, and so in those 40 years, here's all of the impact that it's had. And it was all the creativity and the writers and why it's good for kids to get involved and why, the whole role-playing thing.
Okay. Because randomly killing characters is awesome.
Well, exactly. Well, I had to grab that clip because what was I going to do, find a sound clip of people rolling dice?
No. No, I totally get it. I mean, I remember in high school, like it was freshman year.
Did you have a 12-sided die?
Yeah.
Or he's just happy to see me.
Buddy of mine deep dive into D&D, and he got all depressed because his character got killed off, and he had to go into counseling.
I think we've had
I'm serious.
No, dude.
Absolutely
we've
serious.
had this conversation before. When I was living in Virginia, it was like maybe 6th, 7th, 8th grade, hanging out, and there was a whole like group through the schools that would play like every day after school. That was our little
there was in 5th grade. Yeah.
No, well, there was a kid
at 5th grade.
there was a kid whose character got killed off, and he went and threw himself off a building.
Come on.
And that was the beginning of the whole ban Dungeons and Dragons from schools because it's evil and it's a cult and it's
Why didn't he just roll a new sheet, man?
Exactly. Xerox it.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
It's not that hard. Strength, intelligence, wisdom, constitution, charisma, wisdom.
No,
plus 20 plus 20 plus
World of Warcraft. Don't people do that for World of Warcraft? And like they have these people.
They got like 9 characters.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Craziness.
Yeah, they do what Dave does. They have multiple identities.
Oh no, I lost my paladin.
No. Was D&D the start of the RPG video games?
The start of pretty much. There was no video games back then.
Right. Yeah. This is way before any of that.
Pong was the start of RPG video games, right?
Well, I mean, like with hit points and magic points.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
So I gotta rant. I have to hit the music. No, I don't know if this is music worthy or not.
Oh, absolutely it is.
So I've been reading those stories about Kercheval Drive in Grosse Pointe, Detroit, and I had no idea the magnitude of what they did. So Saturday we go to the day game with the Tigers and it's raining, so we said, get out of here, let's go to the new Atwater German beer garden. And I won't get into that.
Maybe later you will.
They literally
built, Grosse Pointe did, the Berlin Wall. So
it's not just a curb.
You can't enter Grosse Pointe from Detroit. So we took the long way, and I go, what are those? There's buildings in the street. What the hell is that? And so I took a couple
guard towers.
No, that's what I said at the bar after you left. He's like, no, they're like, little Eastern market stands. I'm like, what are they, guard towers? Do they have sandbags in front of them?
They look like turrets. So I go around and I come back around and I had to see this thing. And sure as shit, they built like a turnaround so the street stops. The only thing you could do leaving Grosse Pointe is go back to Grosse Pointe. Like, how is that?
Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. What?
You can't get, like, literally.
How is this not all over the news?
It kind of is, but I don't think unless you see it.
Well, because they're too busy reporting that you don't have to pay your water bill. And
Right.
That's
as soon
where
as they
that's
get done
going.
processing that.
I was talking about it, and I said, like, we live in, like, Rochester Hills. Could you, like, maybe let's say, like,
if Troy put up a wall.
Birmingham runs into Perry, right, for Pontiac.
Right.
Imagine putting a turnaround so you can't go to Birmingham.
Just wall off Telegraph.
Yeah, see how far that gets you.
I'm just so shocked. Like, when, honestly, I read the stories, and I'm like, what the hell could it be? This thing is, I don't know how they got away with doing this. It's insane.
But you're contemplating it for your neighborhood now?
Exactly. You can't get out. It's like the Roach Motel.
Right.
But, no, because we go to the Atwater Beer Garden,
yeah.
and it was gorgeous. That whole little area is like a downtown Birmingham. But I'm like, I go, what's up with the street? I kept that's all the conversation was.
Yeah, I really need to know.
I've been down here like 10 years. What did you do?
No. Actually, what happened to prompt putting up a wall?
I'm telling you, yeah. Like, you might as well just built a wall next time and not even build a turnaround. One of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. I'm dying to know how long that's going to stay there. There's no way that's staying there.
I would imagine not. No. So are we ranted out now?
Yeah.
All right. So new fun one, and actually you brought this up at the bar when we were hanging out yakking before, the new Rick Mote. Did you read that link that I shot you guys?
I did not read it. No.
There is a phenomenal, for $35, you too can build yourself a nice little remote that will take over every Chromecast device in the area.
Yeah,
and force it to play the.
Oh, Rickroll it
and force it to play the. I'm never going to give you up, or whatever other video you would like it to play.
I have a short list of people that I would love to.
What's the radius?
As much as the Wi-Fi card could do. So you could get one with an external antenna connector, and you could do this from a really long way.
So
away.
Dave, we're taking the Cadillac convertible out and just cruising neighborhoods.
We're gonna war drive Rickroll,
and we're gonna put on like what are those like the infomercials with the super hearing, so we can just hear them go off in the background as we're rolling around.
Son of a.
Well, I used to do that, Matt. I used to do that with the corner bar. Has
Thigh Master for everyone.
Yes,
I mean the Thigh Master.
It's like pointing the remote control through the TV, and the guy's like, I gotta get up from the change channel.
Have you seen the app that controls like the jukebox at the bar?
Oh yeah.
So like I was sitting at home and I knew my friend was working and I put $10 in and I played Rick Astley like 12 times in a row. And it's like they can't stop it. They can't. There's not a button, a dump button. So like she's like bitching at me like, who did that? I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, why did she even have to ask the question?
Exactly.
Yeah,
but who? Does everyone
going to block your IP address from now on?
Everyone has a Chromecast. This will be fun. I want $35. That's
$35.
That's I've spent worse on less
today.
Right, exactly. I'm so in.
So the other fun one and it is a recurring topic here on the show. So the whole H-1B situation that's going on. There's a senator who actually got all up in Microsoft's face because they're on Capitol Hill, being one of the companies that's saying we need more H-1Bs. And so this guy actually pulled out a newspaper and said, it says right here that you're laying off 18,000 people because you don't need them anymore.
Oops.
So why do you need more H-1Bs?
Because they're cheaper offshore.
Exactly.
And crickets.
Yeah, so that I was just happy to see that,
which senator is that? I want to give them a donation.
Right. Well, we've joked a million times that that's one of the problems with the Senate and the House. They don't necessarily get it.
They're still in 1987.
Knowing that one gets it made me feel happy. Let's see. So there was what else did we want to yak about? You wanted to yak about that. We yacked about that. Oh, another another one I thought was interesting is, so we talked last week about how they went on, who was it? The security company that went out and bought all of the phones off of eBay and Craigslist and that kind of stuff and reported back on all of all the pictures and all that kind of stuff that they found, that were still left on them.
Yeah.
So the guy, one of the HP security guys, actually decided to go one step further and bought a used point-of-sale machine.
Oh, God.
Off of eBay.
Oh, boy.
For $200.
Yeah, boy.
Credit cards.
And found credit cards, SSNs, an entire database full of information about all the employees that had access to it.
That's all stored?
Yeah. That was entertaining.
Wow.
I got nothing. That's ridiculous. There's no way to wipe that, right?
No, yeah. Shoot the hard drive.
Take out the hard drive.
How many Kmart manager employees are going to go out and shoot a hard drive?
It's a hammer, right? Just beat it.
I don't think that's it.
Those guys are lucky to get their pants on right in the morning.
Power drill. Okay, a power drill.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying, but that's not part of their policies and procedures.
For a point-of-sale system,
yeah, apparently not.
That'd be a fun game. Let's go to I3 with
I'm just envisioning the whole scene from Office Space where they go all Office Space.
I belong to a gun club. We can set them up for the long range 22s and
here's the partnership.
That would be a good business model. We take all your old POSs and put them out on downrange, and we'll just take your AR-15.
No. Here's what we need to do. We need to get Mark from Falling Down to run an aggressive conquest program. Bring in your growlers from other breweries, and he'll give you $5 off a fill or whatever else.
Okay.
Keep the growlers. Bring those to Bob's Gun Club.
Is that like bash a Toyota for $5?
Yeah.
Right.
How big of a guns do you need? I have access to cannons.
I want cannons.
We are so going to be talking about
Civil War, that kind of thing.
No, I want good cannons.
Those are good.
So if someone gets your hard drive, you should just Hulk smash it when you find it. Again, that's the best what we've come up with here.
I just want to put a disc magnet on top of my hard drive.
Yeah, drop it in a fish tank. Do some. Yeah, destroy it.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd never, ever,
power
ever
drill just through and we'll do it.
So last week,
that'll do it.
Last week we were talking about the story where a security company went out and they bought 40 smartphones, used smartphones off of eBay and Craigslist.
Right.
They found something like 20,000 images. They found a lot of images that they should not have found. They found a completed credit card app completed credit app. Huh?
How many cat photos?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, how many memes?
Plates of food and cats.
Right. But yeah, it was just stunning. So I mean, that's why that was just a good offshoot of it. Was we had that conversation last week, and then this one came up, and it was ridiculous. The other one, so Chicago. I know you're there every now and then for family business, all that kind of stuff. Apparently, there is a red light camera. They have the whole thing where they're trying to keep people from blowing through red lights and all that kind of stuff. And they're trying to figure out if it was through programming error or human error. But it sent out at least 13,000 tickets incorrectly that they know of.
Incorrectly.
Wait, the tickets get generated automatically?
Yeah.
From those cameras?
Oh, yeah. There's a whole interface where it reads your driver's license. It just goes right to the DMV computer and spits out the ticket.
I got that. It was
you got that today?
No, last year. Wizard World, Chicago. They took a picture, and there's a video. You can't dispute it. It showed.
It's you flipping the camera off as you're driving by.
Hanging out the window with a beer.
They had a video of me blowing the light.
I only picked my nose once, and they caught it on camera.
Yeah.
I got one on the Autobahn. I'll be kept in one up.
Did they include a photo?
All right.
No.
Because that's where scrapbooking.
Why would they have a speed camera on the Autobahn?
Drops to 120 at city limits kilometers.
It's not unlimited the whole way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, what fun would that be?
I don't understand the concept. Anyway.
So then the last thing before we hop into the break, so Coachella, California, I thought this was interesting. They rolled out 20,000 iPads to other students.
Oh, this one's awesome.
With apparently no knowledge that would cause bandwidth bottlenecks.
They're all playing Minecraft.
Like they're physically prohibiting other schools in the area from getting online now. Because there's such a saturation of kids with network-enabled devices.
This is the modern version. I went to Shrine Catholic High School, and we had a timeshare computer system. And whenever we would log on to the system, Bishop Foley wouldn't be able to log on to the timeshare system. And this is a modern-day version of that. They're clogging all the pipes out there.
The tubes. Down the tubes.
The Google tubes.
Don't they know how to... I'm not even going to get into what You ever see a school IT admin what the skill set he belongs?
Oh, well, so that's what they're talking about now. That they're looking at. Is it going to be? Are they going to basically create their own ISP? Are they going to whatever they're going to do? But yeah, I thought that was an interesting one. That just nobody had the forethought that bringing 20,000 devices online. would
Sort
be
of related to the whole corporate school enterprise thing. Did you see that Apple made a deal with IBM now to get into enterprise, and this deal will now seal Apple's entry into the whole, being issued just like they used to issue BlackBerries to executives and whatnot. And it's going to pretty much cancel out any hope that the Android platform would have in the big business enterprise market for a BlackBerry replacement.
The only problem with that, though, is that Apple is the one that keeps saying we're not a corporate device. We don't care about security.
This changes that because they're allowing IBM to install software to do the whole remote wipe.
That's what I think.
Those are two names I trust for business: Apple and IBM.
Well, here's the funny thing: is like Steve Jobs started Apple with the whole middle finger towards IBM, which is like it's all coming, full story. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, had he been alive, this would never happen.
Ever.
So we're up against the break. We're coming back with Carolyn from CKC Agency, our savior on this planet. And this is the IT in the D Show.
We'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
And we are back, segment 2, episode 51, the IT in the D Show, here in Raw Radio X Studios. Today we're brought to you by Falling Down Beer Company. We are in the Russell Industrial Center, beautiful Midtown Detroit, Michigan, as always. Brought to you, or hosted by Dave the Geek, Bob the Sales Guy, Jeff the Voice. The reason I completely lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
And
we're sponsored by Falling Down Beer Company.
And every time we hit Falling Down Beer, it's just my brain goes foggy.
Pretty much, yeah.
So yeah, we are here. We got Carolyn here from CKC Agency, and for those of you that do not know, you guys were the ones that hooked us up with our press passes for Comic-Con.
Press passes,
which was probably the best weekend we've had as a collective. I would say it's years.
It's been the intro of our show ever since.
Oh yeah, years worth of material.
I'm so happy to hear that.
I was as giddy as like a 8-year-old meeting Roscoe P. Coltrane for the first time. I'm like, oh my God, it's him.
You were not alone, I don't think. A lot of people were giddy and very excited at that.
There was a few people I just didn't quite understand the enamor, like the whole Walking Dead cast.
Okay.
Like people were going bonkers.
The line never got short at all. It floored us.
And then here you have Ted Stryker, and there's like 4 people in line. It's like, it's Ted Stryker from Airplane.
And 3 of them were us. And
he was like our favorite person. We sat there and listened to him and talked to him forever.
Yeah.
I think our longest soundbite is from him.
Well, yeah, we've got 5 minutes because that was the best part of it. So here's what we learned when we were like just walking around yakking with people. Okay. They take themselves very seriously, and so they would ask us for a retake. As we were recording, and so they
didn't like how it came out.
He was one of those guys where he was like, "Hey, this is Ted Stryker." Wait, no, that's not how I wanted that to go. Hold on,
and we just kept rolling. The only one that did it one take was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He was like a complete pro. He just gets the thing, nails it. Everyone else was like stuttering the name or what is it called again?
Did you guys talk to Chris Sarandon from The Princess Bride? Did you talk to him at all?
No, we did not.
Oh, great guy.
Cary Elwes, we did like the year before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which one was he?
I'm not sure where his booth was, but he was the king.
Oh, yeah, I do remember seeing him there.
Yeah,
yep.
Really cool guy. Yeah.
Did you guys talk to Burt Young?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I don't know that we can actually understand anything that he said, but we actually talked to him.
Do you know what? It was a crazy weekend. Obviously, we were working a lot. I never saw Burt Young the whole time. I never actually saw him.
Yeah, we could never figure out any of the actors or actresses' schedules. Like they would disappear, and not only would they disappear, but they would disappear like poof. Like you couldn't see him like walk through the where do
magic.
they?
We had some magic.
You guys do
well, and that was the best part for us. Is candidly, you guys know we walked in with our quote unquote hit list, which was basically what nobody else wanted because it was all about us.
You would be surprised.
Well, no, people were like, "Hey, are you guys going to go talk to William Shatner?"
Right.
No.
We're not really going to talk to William Shatner.
I don't even think we actually saw him, did we?
Yeah, we saw the crowd around him. That was about it. Yeah.
Sounds like we had the same list.
Absolutely.
Right.
So let's dive in a little bit. So you're local. You went to MSU.
I did. Go Green.
And started your business. And so CKC is in Farmington Hills.
CKC is in Farmington Hills. Yep, on Orchard Lake Road.
Okay. And so I get the first question I always have, because I mean there tends to be a misconception around it, is okay, so what does a public relations firm do?
Actually, it's funny because initially, for a long time I was a public relations firm. We've really expanded now to offer all kinds of other media services now. But I mean, really, in the most basic sense, I mean, what we do is we work with a wide variety of businesses, wide variety of clients, whether it's individuals, events, corporations, that sort of thing, and we work to get them known. I mean, whether it's local, whether it's regional, whether it's national, it's our job to sort of be very creative storytellers and share, their messages with the public.
So, and how much of that, I guess, that dynamic has to have changed? I mean, with the advent and rise of social media and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not the, everything you see on A&E, Mad Men. It's it's not that advertising world anymore. So how?
Well, I mean, let's put it this way: there would have never been an IT in the D back then because there was really no IT. I mean, it was,
right.
I mean, when I first
we'd been three nerds locked in a basement with vacuum tubes.
What was that radio movie that you hate with Christian Slater?
I love that movie.
Pump up the volume. We would have been Pump Up the Volume.
Yeah, talk hard.
I mean, really, I'm dating myself a little bit, but I mean, I've been doing this for a while. In my day, there were the newspapers, there were a handful of radio stations. There was no internet radio. There was no email. I mean, the way we communicated with the media, would be either to call them on the phone, to send them a hard copy press kit, which nobody really does anymore, through the mail, wait for them to receive it, and so it's very, very different now.
You actually talk to people?
Really talk to people, and you know what? I miss that. I mean, to me, I see myself as a real connector of people, and I love to do that. And it's done differently now for the most part,
Better or worse? What's your thoughts?
You know what? I don't know if it's better or worse. I don't know if I would explain it that way, but I mean, what I thrive on is having these kinds of conversations, and it's, nowadays people are just multitasking and, texting and doing that sort of thing, and so much can be misinterpreted that way, and so I don't know.
So you're recognizing all those changes. Are you seeing, competitors in the industry that are just missing the boat? And
right. I think we're pretty unique. I think our firm is pretty unique because we offer such a wide range of, what started happening with me was, I would call myself a public relations firm, and then people would start wanting more and more and more, and we would say, okay, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that, and suddenly I'm like, you know what?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, you're crossing into different industries that you never thought you'd be in.
Exactly. So we have put together such an extraordinary team of professionals. I mean, we can do media planning, and we do marketing, and we can produce videos, and we do websites, and we plan events, and we do social media, and so I mean, really the sky's the limit in what we can do for people.
Yeah, because we've had an interesting argument on the show a few times with some local bloggers who dare call us the media. And at first we're like,
we are not.
We're not. At first we're three goofballs.
Wait. They get us press passes. We're the media.
Jackie, note to self.
Wait. Way to rat us out, Bob. Thanks a lot.
But what started is
Jacqueline's actually leaving right now.
We were three goofballs that recorded our bar conversations, but last week's episode almost hit 100,000 combined listeners.
That's amazing. I mean, that's the difference. There are so many more channels now for people to receive information from. Used to be, the Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press, some magazines.
If it wasn't there, it wasn't real.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And talk about, if someone would have said to me in a few years we're going to be reading the newspaper on a computer,
right.
I mean, that
they have the internet on computers now.
Right.
I mean, it would have seemed like sci-fi actually.
Well, and it does. I mean, I'm sure that's one of the transitions is it's probably gotten a little bit more real time.
Yeah.
It's not all the advanced planning and all that kind of stuff. Some of it's probably gotten a little reactionary.
Well, what happens now, because it is real time, and what used to happen is you would get a quote, you would someone might want to do an interview, and then you would wait. And you would wait, and you would wait until the paper came out or the magazine came out. Now you do an interview; it's online in 2 minutes.
Right.
So and it's changed. It's constantly.
And it's forgotten in 2 days.
Actually,
if not sooner.
The wonderful thing, though, that I find about PR, to me, nothing is still going to replace picking up a newspaper, seeing a wonderful article, holding a magazine in your hand. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I mean...
I'm a hardcover book freak.
Yes,
I get it.
Yes. So
I actually miss reading my Sunday morning newspaper.
Right. So the difference is that with PR, people might read an article or see something in the paper, and 6 months later might come up to you and say, oh, my God, I just saw that article. There's really no conception of time for people. It sort of does last.
I mean, the one thing I see is an issue with newspapers is the same thing I see with like 24-hour news is you get too many voices and then it becomes too much op-ed and then it becomes a little bit polarizing and then you have people...
It becomes not necessarily the news.
Right. It's not news. They're all opinion pieces.
Right. Exactly. So you're like, well, it's okay to see people's opinions, but if you know that they're screaming against everything you believe in, I'm not reading that paper. They hate,
Well, and so, I mean, that's another good transition. I mean, you said you've been in this industry, and obviously you made the transition from someone who worked in PR to someone who now owns their own agency.
Yes.
How is that different? Like, and how did it happen?
Right. Well, actually, first of all, I had no idea really what I was going to do with my major from Michigan State in communication, and I went to a career conference in Chicago.
I was going to make a Wendy's joke, but I'll refrain.
Bob, press passes. Be nice.
Sorry.
Remember the power that I
That's actually strike two.
Right.
Yeah, she's actually
remember how much we had on Billy
notes.
Zabka. Yeah. Yeah, you've got Brittany Daniels in your contact list. Shut up.
Next year you get 2 press passes instead of 3 press passes.
Jeff, you're out.
Right under the bus.
Bob's on a watch list next year. That'll be great. Yeah,
exactly.
On another one.
But I was sitting in this conference. It was winter term, my senior year.
Right.
I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And they said, whoever was speaking said, if you're creative, a good writer, and organized, they really need you in PR. And I remember literally counting on my fingers saying, okay, I'm organized, I'm creative, I'm a good writer. I guess that's what I'll go into. Because in my days, communications, telecommunications, journalism, advertising, everybody was sort of going after the same jobs.
Right.
So anyway, but the best thing that ever happened to me was I got laid off from a PR job that I had in a small agency. I was working at an agency that's not around anymore called Gray and Kilgore. We had a big account, and I did the PR, and somebody else did the advertising. Well, they lost the account because the client wasn't happy with the advertising. I subsequently lost my job because there wasn't enough work for me.
Right.
I had also just moved into my first apartment, and after college, panicked. And 3 weeks later, the client got a hold of me and said, "Listen, we weren't happy with the advertising. We loved your PR. We'll set you up with an office. You can use our facilities. You can have other clients." So at that age, at 23 or 24, whatever I was.
Nice.
I never would have had the courage, I don't think, to do that on my own.
To strike out on your own, yeah?
Yeah, I hear a lot of stories like that. The best thing that ever happened to me is I got laid off from my job, or I got fired, or I decided to say, to heck with it, I quit.
Well, and it's nice that the client actually they came back and said, "Hey, we liked you. Not them, we like you."
Yeah, right. I mean, not so much them.
Sweet victory, sort of. That was sort of sweet. So I just, and then it was a hotel actually in Southfield, and then we ended up, they were bought and sold, and then there were 4 hotels, and I was doing PR for 4 hotels. Then I started working with a bunch of the radio stations because after work parties were very big back then, singles parties, and then the radio stations.
I was about to say that sounds like us, but not singles parties.
No.
No matter what some people think.
And then I started working with all the radio stations, and then one day I got a call from WNIC Radio, and they wanted to, hire me to be promotion director. And at the time, I remember saying, I don't know anything about radio except how to punch my buttons in the car. And they said, what, the radio part we can teach you, but you have the creativity and the connections and that sort of thing. So I ended up, it was a decision. I left my own business. I thought, well, I'll give it a try, for if I like it. And I ended up in radio for 6 years as a promotion director for several stations.
Okay.
And then,
they do fun stuff.
Yep, very fun stuff. And then sort of ventured back out on my own. And again, I got married. I wanted to start a family, and I sort of took a break. And I kept getting, people would call me and say, "Hey, can you just do this for my friend?" Or my friend's got a restaurant, and I just sort of
just got this one thing that I need some help with.
Exactly. And I said, of course. And I woke up one day and I just realized I had a whole PR business again, and that's really how
I woke up and I had a portfolio.
Yeah. At that time, I think my file cabinet was in my closet. I mean, I just, and so I worked out of my home for a while, and then, then I got an office, and now there's 8 of us, and it's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome. So, we do. I mean, we don't know why as many people listen to us as they do, but they do. So, I mean, there's bound to be someone out there. Like, if someone's looking or thinking about getting into PR, what would you tell them?
I would first tell them this would be the magic word, just like in the old movie with Dustin Hoffman, The Graduate, where they said plastics.
Tootsie.
Yeah. I have a great story about
and not Rain Man.
No. I actually have a really good story about Tootsie that I can tell you afterward. But internships, paid or unpaid, the best thing that anybody can do.
Just like work exposure?
I mean, you meet people.
Networking, I think, more than work exposure.
Yeah, you get to prove yourself. You get to sort of come along and see what a PR person does. But when I was in radio, I had 2 interns, and they both ended up being hired as my assistants. So, internships is absolutely the way to go. And then, also to do a lot of research on the companies when you're going for an interview. Don't go in blind. I mean, definitely, have some questions, learn about the company, check out their website.
Yeah, imagine that. Actually do the work.
Actually do the work,
yeah.
Yes. Don't, listen, we have a stack of, not, interesting, I'm calling it a stack of resumes, really it's not, because they all come.
It's all in the inbox.
See,
a virtual stack.
A virtual stack of resumes. I mean, hundreds. So you have to do something to.
Well, it's like I still find, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and tape that, and my kids are like, what?
I know.
Fast forward that commercial, Daddy. No.
Yeah, we're watching it live. Yeah, there's no. It doesn't work that way.
That cartoon I posted on the wall about the guy doing a 3D printing of a disc.
Yeah.
It's like, Daddy, what is that?
Oh yeah. Hey, you did a 3D representation of the save icon.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I guess talking about company. So one of I was clicking around your website. One of the things I noticed is, you've got apparently on the walls over there is work hard and be nice.
Yes.
Kind of an interesting philosophy, because usually a lot of businesses are kill, and
we do it so nicely.
They're going to be your best friend until.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? People hear me say this all the time. I really believe there's a gift in everything, and that even when there are problems, or I don't even call them problems, there's opportunities to learn, there's, whatever.
Right.
We have a very, very positive attitude about everything that we do, and life is good, and, our whole office is extraordinarily colorful and fun, and you can really feel.
I noticed that, just clicking around, it's like a designer's dream, like that they got unleashed in your offices and could do whatever the hell they wanted to.
Some people describe it as Candyland. Someone else said it reminds them of the world headquarters of Sweet Tarts. We've heard that.
I could see that.
And we just had someone, I can't remember.
Nothing wrong with that.
At all.
No,
a lot of candy at our office, but someone was in our office a couple weeks ago, and it really was like, I don't want to go back to my office. Can I just stay here? It's so boring.
I don't like my beige walls.
Exactly. Yeah, this office looks nothing like it did before we moved into it. So you just walk in, you smile. Positive. So anyway, I'm all about positive energy and, finding solutions. And that's how, no one ever has to be scared. No employee has to be ever scared walking into our doors that, oh my goodness.
Clients maybe, but not employees.
not clients. And that's another thing. For in a large way, almost my entire career, my whole business has been referral based. Because people can trust us, and we have a lot of integrity, and we're creative, and we have a lot of passion for what we do, and we get results, and it's a beautiful thing to have people sort of knock on your door. And
I was going to say, doing something like Comic-Con, it's probably a referral's dream, because there's hundreds and hundreds of people that go through the doors.
Right. A Comic-Con they came to us, they saw our website, they were sort of looking for somebody new, and I guess they really didn't know where to turn, and as soon as they saw our website, they said, that's it. That's
so was this the first year you were working with them?
Yeah, 25th
okay, well,
anniversary.
Good, because after last year, they really needed a good PR firm.
You're talking about the year before we did it.
Yeah. Not this year.
Yeah.
The year before.
Yeah.
2013.
If I can brag just for a moment, I do have to say our whole team got involved in this, and we worked really hard, and we knew it was a big, obviously, undertaking. And
your whole team was running like nobody's business the entire time.
We got to take beer breaks every 2 hours. You guys actually had to work through the whole thing.
Yes,
I never saw you guys take a break. So.
Yeah, no. And don't forget, our job was to secure media and to spread the word. So, there were mornings where we might have had a dozen television interviews with a variety of people. Half the team is at Channel 4, half the team is at 4 in the morning, at Comic-Con before it opens with a series, with a reporter from Channel 7 or Fox 2.
Right.
Wow.
So we actually we worked really, really hard. And, attendance was up by 10,000. And I can tell you
and you wouldn't know it.
Right.
You know, and we said this, you know, the week afterwards. Hats off to them.
Yeah.
I mean, they got it. There were issues last year.
Yeah.
They corrected them this year, and it was much cleaner. It was much easier to run through. There was the one person that we were talking with that said her best friend came last year, and she happens to be in a wheelchair.
Oh,
and
right.
she's like, all I saw last year was butts. Because I mean the aisles were about a quarter of the size that they were, and I mean they did a great job cleaning things up.
It was a great show.
One of the things that we're able to do in our industry now is we subscribe to services that can monitor the media, you know, so that it's like third-party validation.
Right.
These are national, international companies. And so after Comic-Con, you know, because we missed a lot, we sort of put together this big book of, you know, all the publicity. And this is not coming from me, but third-party, you know, validation.
All the good vibes.
Take a guess the publicity value that we were able to, you know, garner.
Oh, I'm sure it was huge.
Yeah. Anybody want to venture a guess?
Right.
The value? $1.8 million worth of publicity value.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Because publicity value is different than placing an ad.
Right.
If you're placing an ad, an advertisement, a paid advertisement, you know, people are going to read it, but they understand that company placed that ad.
Right.
Isn't that like a full page at Crane's is $1.8 million?
For one issue.
Right.
But, you know, in with publicity, you know, that is third-party validation, and people really remember
Yeah, it's not
publicity.
skewed in any way.
Well, word of mouth is a lot bigger. I mean, and that was the overwhelming crush after the year before.
Yes.
Was extreme negativity, and you know, even I noticed, like watching stuff from last year or this past May, overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, don't think that starting in January or December, whenever we really started working on it, we had heard, you know, that there were a lot of issues last year, and we worked to be very proactive. The entire, you know, a lot went into it starting in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I mean, it was great. I mean, even just getting, you know, Michael on here to, you know, have that conversation and you know, answer a couple of questions.
Those are the best two conversations we had. Was Michael from Comic-Con and then Mike White from Uber.
Yeah.
It's like you're walking in here with kind of a you know, crap storm attached to you, and you came out of it smelling like a rose.
Yeah.
And you actually delivered on it, which is even better.
And we said, I mean, that's one of the first conversations that we had was, or you know, after the con was, you know, that's when our show started to jump up a little bit. Was when we did that interview with him, and it was, you know, we put it out there. It got, you know, it was posted out on their Facebook page because it did. I mean, there was people were interested in. Right. Okay, it's not, you know, some fluff reporter that's going to go, hey, who's all the fun people at Comic-Con this year? You know, we did. We asked him the questions that people were actually interested in, and he candidly answered. Well, it was a great conversation.
He owned it. He wasn't trying to BS anyone.
Yeah.
Right, which is a beautiful thing, and part of that also is, you know, with a public relations firm, when you have a client, you know, there's media coaching, and you want to talk to people about being honest. I mean, I'm not about, you know, that happened. Let's
Yeah.
No, you can't pretend it didn't happen. So this happens.
That just makes it worse.
Exactly.
Are you excited the Green Power Ranger's showing up? All right.
He was a cool guy.
No, he's great. Yeah.
That was probably one of the that was probably one of the more off the wall conversations that we had. But like my nephew thinks that's the cool. Like that's what made me cool. Like they have no idea who Billy Zabka, Joey Lauren Adams, but Uncle Dave talked to the Green Power Ranger.
I don't think we actually had any bad conversation in any of our interviews that we did. Like there wasn't somebody that
we couldn't understand Burt Young.
But. Well, that's not a bad conversation. You know?
Well, there was the Schwen and Rimpey issue.
We're not going to get into that.
Can we?
No.
No.
I want to.
No.
But no, I mean, so I guess, you know, the one thing, like I know we're coming up on another break here, so the one thing I want to make sure I ask is, okay, so getting, you know, internships.
Yes.
What should someone expect? Breaking into PR, you know, whether it's working for you or what differentiates working for you from another company.
Well, one thing that would differentiate us is we're a smaller firm, purposefully, you know, so we have 8 people there. So someone coming into our firm, and as a matter of fact, Jacqueline, who's off mic, but who's with us, started as an intern, actually. When you're in a small firm, you have the opportunity and the ability to work with everybody to really get into the trenches, you know, right off the bat. If you're in a super large agency, you're going to be more pigeonholed.
You can't turn on a dime.
Right.
You can't.
Right. You can't turn on a dime, and your role and your responsibilities will be much more defined.
Yeah, here's your box, and this is where you live.
Exactly.
And that, yeah.
So, you know, when you work here, I mean, you know, day 2, you could be at a TV station with, you know, not alone, but at a TV station with someone or helping. So that's, you know, that's the beauty of working, you know, for a smaller firm, because you dive in immediately. And, yeah.
So and like, what is your internship cycle like? Are you looking for folks now, or are you?
We always, and actually, I'm so big now with 8 people that I don't usually, I don't actually handle that. My people handle, but it's usually with we have summer interns, we have fall interns, not so much in the winter because kids are at school, but usually spring, summer, fall, and we'll have 1 or 2. This semester, actually, we have a video intern. So in the past, we've always had PR interns. This young man is a phenomenal with video, and so we've been doing some different things with him. But again, they sort of shadow us and watch what we're doing, and it's great experience, and they learn so much.
Right.
So over and above interns, how does somebody engage with you to hire you?
To hire us?
Yeah.
Well, again, the beautiful thing is most of the time people find us and they get in touch with us, and typically the process is someone will come to us, and it depends what they need. Someone might come to us and think they need PR. They want PR, they need PR right out of the gate. We might take a look at their website, and it's not good, to put it, it's not responsive, it's whatever. Well, we might say to them, you know what, we really wouldn't advise doing PR yet, because the first thing that somebody's going to do once they hear about you, read about you, see you, is they're going to go to your website, and we don't want them to have a bad impression. So sometimes people think they're coming to us for one thing, and we will steer them in another direction. But we sit down with them.
We have way more in common with them than I thought we did.
Yeah, exactly.
That's us 101. Yeah. No, you don't need Java. You need...
So, we will really meet with them, find out what their goals and objectives are, put together an action plan, for them. And sometimes it's, and we've worked with clients. I mean, I had one client, I think, for almost 18 years straight. And some clients come to us just for projects. Some clients, work with us for 5 years, 10 years. It really just depends.
So you got flexibility.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have a good mix of, for lack of a better word, maintenance clients in addition to new business.
Right. I mean, the majority of our clients are on retainer, which really works out well. When you're a smaller business, knowing what your bottom line is every month, most clients like to be on retainer. We're very, very fair. But I mean, we have large clients. We have Art Van Furniture. We have HAP. We have CBS Radio Detroit.
Okay.
And then we have smaller clients too. There are a lot of. I really built my business with smaller clients. I really understand, and the PR.
Typical.
The PR means so much to them when they get a story and that sort of thing. And now, because of how we've grown, we really have a wide representation of clients. We actually, we may have a major international client coming soon. So
nice. Very cool.
Who, again, found us, and it's pretty interesting. So I'll have to keep you posted on that. Yeah, no clues and no jinxing or anything, but it would be pretty amazing. So.
I'm calling you, by the way.
I'm thinking we're all going to be calling her.
It's interesting. You keep saying people find you. It's like you must have one heck of a SEO expert, because I don't know if there's like a networking agency just for PR firms that you're putting yourself out there for a portfolio.
And again, it really gets back to reputation.
That's the biggest thing always.
When you have integrity,
it's all word of mouth.
When people know they can count on you, when you follow through, and Comic-Con's a good example. We heard from a lot of the national agents and that sort of thing that they'd never worked with an agency as buttoned up and as we were, and that's a beautiful thing to hear. So someone like that might then recommend us to somebody else they know, and that's really that's really how it happens.
It's the biggest compliment.
Well,
here we are coming up against a break. How do we find you online?
ckcagency.com.
Awesome.
Or you could even use the telephone and call us.
Well, I did see a payphone this weekend at the bar.
It
was Excalibur in Grosse Pointe.
It was Bitcoin.
No. Bitcoin, yeah. It said Michigan Bell on it.
Right, so it's ckcagency.com. We'll have the links and all the stuff in the write-up as it goes out tomorrow, and hope you guys can hang out. We'll figure out if we missed anything and if we need to double back around.
Okay.
This is the IT and the D Show.
We'll be right back.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
And we are back. Segment 3, episode 51, IT in the D Show here in the Raw Radio X studios in the Russell Industrial Center, beautiful Midtown Detroit, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy here with Dave the Geek. Jeff the Voice of Reason had a great interview with Carolyn from CKC Agency, and another guy we met at Comic-Con was Dom Riggio from Mess Bucket Comics. And I think you were the only guy that had like a plaster of Paris character on your desk.
Larger than life.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's what pulled us over there was the giant demon head.
Oh, it wasn't my pretty face?
No. No.
Ah, see, that's why I came on here.
So you have a face for radio.
Well, no, Karen was impressed. When I was, she's like, who's the boy with the arms and the square jaw? And
I like her already.
Can he get out of the window so I can focus?
I like her already.
Karen, that's Bob, Karen. That's Bob. He's here every week.
Yeah. It's the guy with the goatee.
Right.
Graying.
But yeah, that was a bust of my character Ravager.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it is. I mean, so you've got a few different things going on. So, you know, like I said, so we met you at Comic-Con because of, and the title is of your graphic novel,
The Arcane Awakening.
And so, and we've got the picture. It's out in the photo gallery from our Comic-Con adventures and all that stuff. We'll repost it just for giggles.
Great.
But so so why graphic novels? Like, what led you down that path?
Oh God. I discovered.
Are we back to the Dungeons and Dragons conversation from the first segment?
We might be. He might be a little young for that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was.
You're a tracer.
Well, I kind of discovered I had a writing talent in college.
Okay.
So of the graphic novels, I'm the writer and the creator.
Okay.
I actually used to do these weekly. Hottest guys on campus. I went to Western Michigan. It was a GeoCities or GeoSites.
Oh, GeoCities, yeah.
It was a site for it.
Wow.
So I just, on Sunday, Monday, you'd hear all the stories, what everybody did over the weekend,
right,
that and the other. So, like, the crazier the story was, I made a list of, like, the stories, and I thought it'd be funny if it was like, no, this makes this guy hot because he got so drunk he passed out. And like,
it's like the precursor to text from last night.
Right. Yeah. I actually used to, like print them out and hand them around like the student ghetto and the different areas.
Right.
And
blackmail.
People thought they were hilarious, and it got to the point where they wanted to be on the list because everyone would
try to one up each other.
Right. And so I would go into like the restaurant down the street, and the guy that was a waiter was like, "Hey, Dom, here, don't worry about this meal. Just put me high up on the list."
You're the Godfather.
Yeah. The bartender would be like, he's Dom.
That's your currency for the next 3.5 years.
Right.
I mean,
never bought a drink for the rest of my college life.
For good money, it's no good here.
They thought it was funny, and I was like ripping on everybody like that would make the list, and certain guys never got higher than me.
Well, that's it. When you run the list, you get to run the list.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah. So anyway, people enjoyed that, and I didn't really know what to do with this writing talent.
Right.
So I wrote a bunch of scripts and things like that.
So hot guys to demons. That's a perfectly understandable transition. I get that.
I really don't know how, but
I heard that's what Stephen King did. But I wrote a bunch of scripts, and they just sit on your computer if you don't have money or actors attached to it, and so that's what I was doing, and I was kind of getting frustrated, and I was like, how am I going to get this out there? And I found a relatively inexpensive way to do that is through comic books. It was something I've always enjoyed. I got a moderate collection at home.
So that wasn't the original intent then?
Well, I wrote the script, and while I'm writing it, it was... I'm like, this would make a really cool comic book. So I was like, maybe I could do this. So I looked into it, and I was like, you know what? This is something I can afford right now if I get a little bit of financial backing for this.
Okay.
So I went ahead and did it, and now I have a fan base. Now I'm promoting it at conventions, and it's out there. It's not just my little thing that I do that's sitting on my computer. It's actually out there, and people are enjoying it, and I can do great.
Now there's an expectation for your next issue.
Yeah.
Wait, so you've got 2 out currently?
Correct.
And,
yeah,
and you said there's a third. I was saying you said the third one was coming.
Yes, the third one's it's written. I'm working on about the rest of the funding. So
he's waiting on his tracer.
Right.
Right.
I heard you guys were going to fund the rest of it. That's why you told me.
See, and that was the start of the conversation at Comic-Con, actually.
Yeah. So, sponsorship money goes right out the window. Right to our guests.
You accept beer, vodka, and Slim Jims?
Yeah, exactly. We buy bar tabs.
How about a 4-pack of Sutter Home?
Well, this is brought to you by Falling Down Beer.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
contact them.
Well, we're bring you over to Mark. Life will be good.
Yeah.
Bob can draw a stick figure.
Right. So, I guess what's next? I mean, so you get the funding, you get the third book out.
Right.
Are there plans beyond that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. My ultimate goal is a live-action movie, but after that, I want to do Arcane Origins, the origin stories of all the different characters in the book.
Okay.
And at that same time, I'm going to go ahead and have some animated shorts out there so that I can have an animated movie. I know the budget I need.
We should introduce him to the Hot Carl and Dirty Sanchez guys, because they had a video.
I met those guys. Those were down.
Those guys are hilarious.
They were down the row from me.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
I met those guys. I'm drawn to Hot Carl and Dirty Sanchez guys. I don't know. I walked down there.
Be isolated right there.
Pretty much. You are now part of our intro.
How do you walk past that? Banner that says.
All right, they roped us right in.
Yeah.
So, but that's not all you've got going on. So you have the comic thing, the graphic novel thing going on.
Right.
You've also got a place in Southgate that you're running.
Yes.
Either called or used to be called Penelope's.
It's called Penelope's Venue currently.
Gotcha.
It was Modern Exchange.
Okay.
5 or 6 years ago, and we took it over. We saw the potential, but we had to do a lot of work. My business partner Donna Newman, we gutted the place. We put a new floor, a new ceiling, repainted the walls, the outside. We're theater ready. We can have live theater.
I was going to say, so what kind of venue is it?
Right. It's during the day. It's we have art on the walls, local artists, people I meet at conventions, stuff like that. So they can come in and take a look, and we sell art during the day. We have film festivals that are going to be happening hopefully next year.
Okay.
Film premieres. We had the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Nice.
I was they put the V thing on my forehead. I don't know what I was in, so I was a virgin to the
first never experience before. Yeah.
So we have all kinds of great stuff. Love to have you guys. Maybe somewhere down the line.
Absolutely. We had that conversation. Whether it's with Mark and the Battles, Bouts, and Brawls thing, and maybe getting some of the wrestlers down there. And,
absolutely.
And it makes perfect sense. Where he was actually saying he's going to be running like a Star Wars themed event.
I'm all in.
That would make sense for us to do a remote from.
It has a lot of character. There's a lot of cool things that you don't even see the first time through.
You could have a mini convention there, really.
Absolutely.
We say that about this building. It's got a lot of character.
It does, yeah.
It's like the ultimate blend. So what's she look like? She got a great personality, awesome smile. You're gonna love her.
Yep.
What's she look like? Awesome sense of humor.
What's the building look like? It smells great.
Fresh paint. You're gonna love it.
It's paint. Is that what it is?
We're actually gonna have a Star Wars convention there with the guy Dennis Barger that runs the Detroit Fan Fair.
Okay.
It's gonna be a
very
Detroit
cool.
Fan Fair event.
Wow.
And he's got all kinds of cool stuff happening. That's going to be in a few months. We have next weekend, there's Steampunk Penelope. We have Steampunk.
There you go, Jeff.
They have all kinds of steampunk music.
Steampunk, I do.
Contests.
I'm not going to...
You should come. Go to penelopesvenue.com and go on there. You can see the video walkthrough. And you can see the upcoming events. We're going to have and then that day, I think a ticket is $20. You can see Sweeney Todd live.
Very cool.
Live, I think it's the Wyandotte Players. And then we have a steampunk event where everyone's dressed up. There's a costume contest and all kinds of stuff, auctions and stuff like that.
A steampunk costume contest. That could get interesting very
Intriguing.
fast. Yes.
Yeah, because I've seen some of them.
Yeah, right.
You're going to get outclassed real quick, man. Some of those people are
I'm not a cosplay person at all.
Spinning like servos. And
they go
they're pretty awesome.
I'm a voyeur. I'm just there to watch.
I do not do that whole dress-up thing at all, but I'll go and watch.
You just want to dress as Spaceballs.
Years ago at a PenguinCon, there was
We'll sit back and mock.
called Steampunk, The Goths Have Discovered Brown.
Nice. Because that's essentially what it is, right?
In a lot of ways, yes.
Right. With maybe a gear thrown in there.
Yeah, some brass.
Funny because
some
it's
brass.
true.
Yeah,
outstanding.
Shit. Make it look good.
That's a fantastic quote.
Well, we've been going to Comic-Con for, 15 years?
At least.
And it's not once have we ever dressed up, but I mean, we chatted with a few as we were walking around this last time. They're great conversations. There are people that are really, really into what they do. This is just another extension of that.
Right. It's kind of all the things, like you said, I have my fingers in a bunch of different things, but with Penelope's, everything I've been trying to do kind of merges together. It's with the VIP area. I don't know if you guys have ever been to St. Andrews Hall.
Absolutely.
Yeah, once or twice.
Yeah, we actually have our events there.
We might have
remember.
We might have run an 800-person event there once or twice.
Well, there's upstairs.
They know us by name.
There's upstairs on both sides. Ours has one side, and we made a VIP area.
Oh, cool.
And the VIP area is Mojo's Loft, and Mojo's a character in my book, if you remember.
Right.
He's one of the good guys. He's a descendant of Jim Morrison and Archangel's.
I remember you telling me about this. Okay.
Speaks in lyrics, drinks whiskey.
Yep.
As a
so
cross.
Bob.
Right.
Yes. Drawn slightly different.
Yeah. Bob, but not as agile.
Bob in Bob's mind.
Does your character require an elevator?
Yes.
I'm leaving.
It's a gimmick infringement here. I'm going to get a lawsuit. So it kind of all merges everything I'm doing together. The charity that I run is also the house charity there. And
okay.
So
I don't think I know about that. So what house charity?
Well, the charity I started 5 years ago is called the Frozen Fish Fiasco. And what it is,
shopping at Walmart for.
I'll explain the name.
So it's like me getting my biochem degree in a goldfish and liquid nitrogen.
We were talking about this at the bar, so this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, so there's Clark Park, which is a park right by the bridge, by the Ambassador Bridge.
Right.
And they have the last outdoor hockey rink in Detroit or Metro Detroit, where you can actually play a game where it's the full length regulation size. So I grew up playing hockey since I was 5 years old, and myself and everyone that I played with didn't even know this rink was there. It's not even used. The boards and glass are brand new. The scoreboard's brand new. Nobody even knows it's there. It's in the middle of Mexican town.
How do I not know that's there?
I was going to say, of all the people, how would they...
How do I not know that's there?
I didn't know it was there. How did you not know it was there?
It's like what was that terrible movie with James Earl Jones and the guy from Waterworld?
Jones and
Field of Dreams?
Field of Dreams.
Oh,
Field
yeah.
of Dreams.
Yeah.
It's like city, hockey rink, city. It's like in the middle of nowhere,
Huh.
But so what we do, there's...
So you started a charity to...
Right. 5 years ago, it started off, it was just a men's league game, my team, the Cedar Point Carp, versus another team. Do you remember the mine ride, the carp next to the mine ride at Cedar Point?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They eat anything.
Yeah,
cigarette.
Spit.
Exactly. They're very tenacious, and they're very ferocious.
They're survivors.
And
I just think they're hungry. I wouldn't call them tenacious.
Right. Well, that's like my...
They're underfed.
I don't know that they're actually underfed.
I've been eating kid spit for 2 hours.
Right.
Give me some food.
Disease. Very much like all the players on my team. But so we just played another men's league team. Passed the hat around the first year 5 years ago. We raised $500. This last year we raised $22,000 for the park.
Wow!
And 35 sponsors, I believe, including the Red Wings and the Tigers. And
I want in.
We're doing it wrong.
I want in.
I mean, it's we had 2 buses.
I play goalie. You need goalies?
Yeah, we need you in that. I'm shooting on you.
I got pads.
Yeah, okay. Awesome.
Bob and I will film that, actually.
Been playing since the age of 6. I'm in.
Dave keeps saying he plays hockey. I've never actually seen him do
Sega, not real.
No, not we. No.
But yeah, it's a great event. We bus the kids out on 2 buses. We get their equipment out of the bus, put in the locker room like they do in the NHL. The kids feel like they're never going to play in this environment ever again, with old Detroit buildings in the background like in Mexican Town. And then when you dump it in the corner, you can see the Ambassador Bridge behind the net.
Very cool.
Play under the lights, everything, and then we bus the kids back. It's absolutely phenomenal.
So you have connections. You were telling me at the bar that you have connections with the Wings, with the Tigers that are sponsoring this.
Yeah, my old connections. I can't call it Mike Ilitch or anything like that. But yeah, they've helped us out. They've been great. They gave us some Nick Lidstrom signed picture, signed puck for us to auction off.
Very cool.
See, now we need that to happen, and I need to play, and then we need the original Styx guys hooked in.
Yes, that's right.
That's a perfect tie-in.
Is that the cell phone?
Cell phone cases.
Right.
Yeah, out of Hockey Sticks.
Speaking of hockey stuff, we also just started a hockey apparel company called Holiday Hockey.
How many businesses do you actually run?
I've got.
Are you Jamaican?
I got. I have it written down somewhere.
So we had him on to talk about comics. He's actually talking about his 7th business.
8 businesses later.
I'm a one-man venture capital company.
He never sleeps.
Yeah, look up Holiday Hockey on Facebook and come and like our page and buy our T-shirt. They're very, very cool T-shirts.
Only if you buy an IT and the D T-shirt.
Absolutely, yeah. 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah.
You guys take the loss, we'll take the profit.
Right.
But, hey, Don, we're actually used to that, so.
Yeah, story of our lives. So, I guess, what's coming up other than, you said the steampunk thing? I mean, what else do you have going on at Penelope's? I mean, we've been yakking about we need to get there and check it out, because, well, we do. But, I mean, anything else on the horizon that we ought to be yakking about?
Yeah, the Star Wars convention. Or it's a mini convention.
Right.
This isn't big enough.
And that's when?
For midgets?
That's next.
Danny will be there. Dressed as Yoda. Actually, at a midget, he'll be there dressed as Chewbacca.
A midget Star Wars. Write that down.
No, we know a guy that
actually has the outfit.
He runs shortdwarf.com. Like he's a little guy, and his business is other little guys getting employment, and that's his thing.
It's actually a big business.
Dude, his Facebook page, the banner image on his Facebook page is "I run a little side business."
I know it is. That's why I said it.
This was mature when we had her on.
It was.
I heard he almost got this big deal last year. But
Tom, we warned you. We gave you fair warning. Matt, you're laughing here, so Matt.
I get you all another drink or two.
Right. So it's comics to owning a venue to helping children in charity to midget jokes. Hi, welcome to the IT and the D show. That's I
have some conventions I'm going to. I'm hopefully.
Oh yes, we were talking earlier. You're thinking about maybe going to Dragon Con. You're going to hit Wizard World in Chicago?
Wizard World Chicago for sure.
Okay.
That's in August. The Dragon Con, I'm still waiting to hear back. That's why I'm surprised.
They're extremely last minute.
Yeah, they do things like, the last 2 or 3 months. She started her promotion 8 months prior.
Oh, yeah?
I'm right now, what is that holiday? Labor Day or?
Yeah.
Right. I'm still waiting.
Oh, no, Dragon Con has been like that for, I think the first one I went to was, 97 maybe, and it was like that then. Like they didn't have final guest lists. They didn't have.
I don't think that will ever change.
Schedule of events. They didn't have any. They were solid.
I'm just
there might have been a cancellation or two that was beyond it. No,
everything last minute.
Everything was TBD until like 3 days before the show.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know what panels you were going to see.
Volunteer run, or is Dragon Con like a professional thing? Okay.
It's fan owned.
Yeah. That's the big distinction.
But after, dude, after 20 years,
really like the people who go to it sort of running it versus
But our pink slip parties have more organization than this, and we're idiots who sit around and drink, and we're actually helping people find jobs.
Well, we're all just idiots who sit around and drink.
And the only organization we do, did they sign the contract yet?
Yeah, exactly. Dave, did you print the badges? Yes, I printed the badges.
And that's about it.
Did you print the right names on the badges? Yes, I printed the right names on the
Does Haas have a badge?
Yeah, does Haas have a new name? Yes, Haas has a new name.
I'll get my plane ticket and get my hotel room last minute. I'm sure it won't go up.
Right. Yeah, no. There's no reason you would have to make plans in advance for travel or airfare or
Actually,
hotel.
I'll be going to Milwaukee Labor Day weekend, so I might. I got Saturday nothing to do. I might swing in.
Okay, nice.
From Milwaukee to Atlanta.
Oh no, I think it's in Chicago.
That's different. Dragon Con, Atlanta. What else is new?
Then there's the weekend after that. I might have 3 in a row to go. There's Cincinnati Con, and then we have the Detroit Fan Fair. Well, I guess it's gonna be in February now.
Yeah, I think they pushed it back to February.
It's gonna be in Sterling Heights, and I forget the name of the.
Is it Gibraltar? No, it's not Gibraltar. It's
there's a water park in there.
Yeah.
What is that?
What's the place we were yakking about going to look at?
Sterling Heights.
Yeah.
The Loon River place.
Yeah.
The Best Western.
That sounds right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Detroit Fan Fair is going to be.
Yeah.
Good Lord!
So we don't have to feel bad about IT and the D running in the suburbs because Detroit Fan Fair is in Sterling Heights.
So Dime, you keep saying we, like circling back to the comics. Like,
yes.
do you have a group of people you're working with to produce each issue? Is it different each time? Is it the same group of people?
Yeah, it's for book 1. I had artist Jacob Crippen. He did the lettering, and penciling and cover art, just about everything. And I had a colorist, What was his name? Can't remember his name, but those guys kind of moved on, retired, whatever. Life got in the way,
right?
As a lot of people say. For book 2, I have another guy, Keith Gratchow, a really talented artist. He did the penciling and lettering and inking. He's done work for Disney. I think it's Hasbro toys, I want to say.
Okay. So how do you find these people? Like, is it just like, do you throw it out there saying, hey, I have a need for an artist, I have a script, I have a story, I just need art, I need...
Right. Well, I dove into this thing head first, not knowing what the hell I was doing. Yeah.
Kind of like
sounds
familiar.
Yeah. But, before book 1, when I just had a script and all this, I had like an 800-page script.
Okay.
That I had to cut down to it. I decided maybe...
Sounds like some of Dave's blog posts.
I'm wordy. It's part of my charm.
Hey, we are coming up against a break. Hey, Dom, how do we find you? What's the best website?
We're on
of the 9.
Messbucketcomics.com.
And I will. I wrote them all down. We'll have links to all of them tomorrow.
How much time you got, buddy? No, Messbucketcomics.com has links to all my comic-related stuff. On Facebook, Messbucket Comics. There's the Arcane Awakening fan page. Twitter, @MessBucketComic. Instagram, what do they do on there? Is it @MessBucketComic?
Yeah, hashtag.
Is it hashtag?
Umlaut.
Yeah, just search Messbucket Comic. There's the Frozen Fish Fiasco is the hockey charity. It's every January, the weekend before the Super Bowl.
And that's Holiday Hockey.
And that's brought to you by Holiday Hockey and Messbucket Comics.
Bob, you and I are totally going to film Dave, quote-unquote, air quotes here, playing hockey.
Yes.
Lace up some skates, Skippy.
I will... I never said that I ever played hockey.
Let's throw down about who can score and who gets shut down.
I will if you give me one of those elementary school chairs. I'm all in.
All right, so MessBucketComics.com. Don Reggio, thanks for coming in, man. We'll be right back on the other side of the break.
This is that DVD show.
We'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time. This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D show.
All right, so hey, we are back live, the IT and the D show at rawradiox.com, and then there were 4.
We apparently scared off everyone, including one of our guests, or one of our hosts, I mean.
Right.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, exactly. You had too much going on, and it just sent him into like a epileptic fit. Yeah. All right, so let's dive in. The last guest that we've got tonight that we wanted to get to was Matt Switlick. And am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Well, no, is it right?
No, that's right. Yes.
Okay.
Switlick, not Switelick or
Yeah. Could be worse. So you're with I3 Detroit, and we've talked to you. I think the first time we talked to you was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Heading into one of our Pink Slip parties over at Woody's.
Yeah, we had just moved into a new 8,000 square foot space in Ferndale, and we had to project to raise our membership rates, or eventually we'd go under, right? Like, we were trending, not we had money in the bank, but so I came to you guys looking for other people who
might be interested
types, interested in all kinds of makery, right?
Yep.
I love that new term. It's sort of like maker. It's do you weld? Do you do woodworking? Do you do metalworking? Do you do electronics? All of that goes under the maker tent.
And I was trying to
nice term in that way.
When I was sitting in on Karen's show before this, they were asking who our guests were and all that kind of stuff, and I was I had mentioned you, and I was talking about Maker Faire, and they were like, okay, and the Sarah who was in here had said, she's like, my friend is a neurosurgeon who's going to be there doing some presentation about brain electronic connectivity. Like, is that what that is? And I'm like, well, it's a part of it. Like, it's that, and it's the guy that we have on that runs a maker space and and deals with robots and all that.
It's a science fair for.
Do you make stuff? Yeah, do you make stuff? That's really what it comes down to.
You've got a bunch of stuff in the corner with really high-powered tools, and you can just go have fun, right?
Yeah, in our space, I mean, we literally, I was listing off I'm in my head doing a walk around space.
Right.
And it's woodworking. We have injection molding machines. We have a CNC that's so freaking big, like you could kind of sort of make automotive molds for like for real industrial parts. I don't know how to run that thing. You got to talk to the guys who do metalworking shop, woodworking shop, and then you come around to we have a little bit of member storage, right? So if you're a member, you have a little bit of shelf space, so you don't have to necessarily lug your project back and forth. It's supposed to be kind of dynamic and regularly refreshed, right? We don't want people storing stuff there, but then you go into the laser cutters, 3D printers.
Yep.
We actually just obtained, I think, a new one. I think I'm not that well versed in the details, but I understand we won something in the Red Bull Creation Challenge in Detroit last couple of weekends. Really? And I understand we got a new 3D printer. I don't know much about it, but it's different than the other 3D printers we had.
4D.
Yeah, could be.
We just need one big enough to print Spaceballs helmets. That's all we need.
Well, I just want a 3D printer that prints 3D printers.
But I use mainly a lot of the laser cutter stuff. Laser cutters are great for really fast prototyping.
Right.
So I cut a lot of my projects out of 5mm balsa wood or acrylic.
Right.
Not too thick.
So other than winning a 3D printer at some contest that you're not really sure how you win a 3D printer, how does one acquire all this equipment?
Oh,
the CNC machine that you said that's big enough to do automotive mold.
I3 Detroit member, or you could be like an old man in a garage and accumulate it over a lifetime. That's sort of.
Is it by donation? Like people bring in their stuff?
Most of the original equipment at I3 was stuff that members had, and we all pulled it together into an 8,000 square foot warehouse.
Ah, okay.
We in the last year-ish finally got our 501c3, so we now are a educational not-for-profit. And that's how we got our really big, awesome Super CNC, was because it was donated from a company who's like, we're going to get an even better one. So here's our old one, and you're nonprofit. So all we had to pay was the tooling cost to get it from A to B, rather than the tooling cost to get them to show
sort
up.
Of depreciated value or whatever.
Rigging, I think, is the right term, right? So we didn't have to pay any of the rigging fees. We just had to transport from A to B. It was really awesome.
So I3 Detroit, okay, so you've talked about membership, and it's a makerspace, and then there's all this stuff there. How does one go about becoming a member? Are there classes that you have to take in order to get your hands on the cool laser cutter, or can I just give you $30 and start
I can't just
playing
walk
Jedi?
I just can't walk in from the sidewalk and say, "Hey Matt, can I borrow that laser machine for a minute?"
Screwdrivers for free, right? No,
I'd like to attach one to a shark.
Yeah, exactly.
Shark beat me to it, lasers.
So the short of it is, the membership is $49 a month, and if you show up at, I believe, our first or our third. On the first Tuesday of the month or the third Tuesday of the month, we have our membership intro meetings where you could show up and you can just be anybody, basically. We're not exclusive. We don't vet you or anything like that.
Kind of dangerous.
A little bit, but it's worked out. It really has. We take an open source mentality to a lot of this stuff.
Okay.
And so you show up and we will give you the introduction in the space. That doesn't mean you can run the laser cutter. That doesn't mean you can run the CNC. You do have to get trained with machines that are capable of destroying themselves and you. But we have a lot of machines. Yeah, we have a lot of good machines that keep you from doing that. We recently got a stop saw. Right, I don't know if you're familiar with those. Yeah. Those are those saws that you cannot cut your thumb off with.
Yeah, as soon as
it'll nick your thumb.
I think it's phenomenal.
I've seen video on that where
they're amazing.
They test it on a hot dog to simulate the finger.
Yes,
and it will stop on the hot dog.
It'll nick the hot dog, but it won't cut the hot dog.
It'll let you know you screwed up.
It's important to note if you're not
in hell that I would
you
test
go to use this saw, right? We're not so open that we're going to let any. You have to be trained to use the saw because there's a switch and stuff and
and you have to activate the do not cut off finger switch.
You can't cut material that's conductive, right? You got to be careful. When you're cutting something like PVC can actually cause a static spark that can trigger it. So you have to be trained on these kind of machines. But it seems weird because it's just a table saw, but that's actually kind of a fancy table saw. So it's sort of one of the extreme. But you get trained in all this stuff, and any individual tool you can be trained in a single 1 hour session.
Oh, okay. So that brings up a question. So training, who's doing this training? Are there certified experts, or is there somebody that's
the last guy who just went through the 1 hour training?
Hey, you know what? Dave walks in and says, I use that laser at another facility.
Exactly.
If you're not...
the way we do it at I3 is we have zone wardens. And this is basically like the open source way we've tried to like distribute the load of the work. Because the truth is, running I3 Detroit is a lot of work. Props out to all of our current board members because they run through the frickin' social ringer of bullshit and everything else. But these...
We're familiar.
Yeah, dude. The complaints and fielding them, man. A lot of props to those guys. I had my term in
the free beer wasn't cold
and
enough.
Stuff, and I appreciate the guys who are currently
There's not enough balsa wood in the corner.
And women. We were both male and female. It's not entirely a boys' club at I3. But, the entire process is pretty straightforward. I mean, you go through the training, you get certified in individual tools and of the stuff you're going to use. Like example, I'm not familiar with the big CNC, but I'm not working any projects that need.
Yeah, not something that you really have any plans to hop onto.
Yeah.
So, but that does bring us into what you have hopped into, and that kind of segues into Maker Faire, which is going on this weekend out at Henry Ford.
Fifth annual, I believe.
And that's like you were saying. I mean, that's the overgrown science fair for all of the maker spaces that are out there.
And I do not see. I see a connection between the growth of Maker Faire and the growth of the membership of I3 Detroit. Year over year.
So, for the novice that has no clue, what Maker Faire is, it's at Henry Ford. They pay their admission. They get to walk around and see what?
All kinds of stuff, man. This year, I believe there's over 400 makers, and the admission includes the Henry Ford Museum as well. So, I'm saying,
so it's your event plus everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Maker Faire event plus everything that's already in the Henry Ford. So if you haven't been in the Henry Ford in a while, there's a whole lot of time just in and of itself. But, I mean, there's the 501st Star Wars. I don't want to call them reenactors.
No, we hate those guys. We hate those guys.
The Stormtrooper guys.
The Stormtrooper guys,
Stormtrooper guys, yeah.
But they do some neat stuff. I don't know if it's the 501st or other Star Wars affiliates. They do things like droid competitions. A couple years ago, they were doing who can do the coolest
the R2
droid.
guys.
Yeah. That was always my favorite robot from Star Wars.
Well, yeah, they were running around Comic-Con as well. They had, the R2, D2, they had R5, D4. They had the little droid from the hallway in the Death Star that was whipping around.
Yeah, but things like expect several things that are shooting fire from something, right?
Because fire attracts everyone.
For several years ago, there's been, or a couple times they've had a big fire breathing dragon truck. That thing's been awesome. I've seen fire breathing pony robots and all kinds of strange things. Things controlling fire with your brain. That was an I3 Detroit members. Use one of those brain sensors, right? They put on your forehead.
It's not Firefox.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
not the browser.
Fire with your brain. Tons of robots, musical instruments, lots of 3D printing examples, laser cutters, CNCs, all the fun kind of maker stuff.
So the other question I got asked while I was sitting in here having this conversation with the show before us was, okay, so what's the age reach? Is this something that young kids are going to be into? Is it something that
can I bring my 7-year-old?
Your teen?
Oh, absolutely. I get really small kids at my exhibit. I get small kids right up the fence to the point where I had to put a little plastic chain to keep them from getting too close. I mean, there's a big age range. It really is from 7 to 100.
Anybody with the curiosity.
Yeah, basically. I really would recommend.
It's like going to the science center, essentially.
Yeah, especially the young.
It's not necessarily hands-on, but.
The first robotics kids are not performing. There's normally a first robotics competition, so you get some of those high school innovators. And then you also got just completely out there the Power Wheels racing series.
Okay.
The Power Racing series, excuse me. They're grown people, right? Both men and women. On Power Wheels, and the rule is that you got $500 to take a kid's Power Wheels toy and make it so an adult can drive on it, and then we race them.
Like a Segway?
No, dude, like a big wheel.
Like a kid's Power Wheels, dude. We modify the kids. The more plastic chassis you can keep on it, the better, right?
That's
and then we race them competitively. It's a really fun competition. That one's going on throughout the whole weekend. Here's the thing about the Power Wheels racing series. It goes across.
Yeah, the kids would be nowhere near that.
Fairs,
like the kids would, or the adults would totally take over.
The adults race this. The
adults
Power Wheel
race this, but you have to compete at multiple maker fairs, right? It's like a NASCAR.
This is like Takashi
It's
from
like NASCAR point
Revenge of the Nerds on the training wheels.
Yes. So yeah, you modify this with no more than $500 worth of stuff into your modifications, right? And then let's race them competitively. Now, I've always thought how much fun it would be eventually if we could ever negotiate. Like years ago, I saw like a Jimmy Kimmel Live where he had Shaquille O'Neal on. And Shaquille O'Neal apparently has an affinity for really small cars. And as a joke, Jimmy Kimmel and Shaquille O'Neal got into two Power Wheels cars, and that's where the bit ended because like they couldn't; those little motors can't move Shaquille O'Neal, man. But do some hacker spaces. Like if we seriously got some like Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago involved in it, and we got different like sports athletes, large, the bigger the better, right? Like it could be something fun.
I'm just trying to picture like a Detroit Lion on my kid's Power Wheels
lion,
Harley.
a tiger, and a piston. Oh my!
Right. Well, you bring somebody in from Chicago, and then you've got a lion, a tiger, and a bear. Oh my!
So you mentioned the FIRST Robotics, the competition stuff for the high schools. Are you guys a resource for those high school programs that, because a lot of those, I toured a local high school where like these freshmen and sophomores are like deep diving into this whole robotics thing like competitively. Like they compete at the state level.
Intense.
It's unreal.
Yeah. They talk about it in a season manner. Like when I touched FIRST Robotics as a senior in high school in the year 2000, it was like the one event, right? Went to the event. Okay, that was cool. That was fun, right? The kids who are like coming through I3, and we do have a couple of teams that work at the space.
So they use you as a place for a resource
workshop.
A workshop. Okay. For schools that don't necessarily have a shop in their own school itself.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not actually currently involved in a team, but there are members who are. And these, I listen to these high schoolers now, and they're not just talking about it as a, like, we're going to this event, we're going to do this. They are talking about it in a tactical, like strategic element, right? To like, did you see Team 202's blah 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 technique that they were using? And I'm listening. I'm just like eavesdropping on this at I3.
They had a howitzer. We need a Gatling gun.
Yeah, they're talking like strategy, and the thing about that is the game changes year from year. It's not the same game.
Of course,
so they're constantly, So over the course of the season, I mean, it's really changed a bit. There's a lot more opportunities to like use your robot, I guess.
It's like a sport. It's like they're scouting like it's a football game, and they're like going.
Oh, the competition to spectate.
Yeah, the competition is unreal.
If they weren't changing the game every year over year, I think it actually could become a much more of a spectator sport. But that is kind of part of the problem. Is like people have to. If they change the rule to hockey every year, it would be detrimental to hockey as a sport as a whole.
Where were you guys in Ferndale?
We are in Ferndale now. We were in Royal Oak several years ago.
Where in Ferndale are you on? Like
9 Mile and Wanda would be the major cross section, but Wanda, we are currently at 1481A Wordsworth in Ferndale, Michigan.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
B is Bee Nectar. We got to get you guys.
Oh, we know them.
Yeah.
So how long? Is Maker Faire? How is that a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing? Is it a Saturday thing?
Sunday.
Okay.
It is Saturday from, I believe, 9:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. And adult tickets are $28. Youth are $19. Seniors $26. And kids under 4 are free.
So how many, do you know them? Like, how many I3 folks are showing up and doing their thing there?
A lot. I3, it seems like a lot of the hacker spaces have a tendency to get, like, their own tent. Right, so come look. They tend to put all the hacker spaces kind of in an alley. So come look for the I3 Detroit tent, and you'll find a bunch of I3 Detroit people's stuff, including my own. I think. Last year I had some problems with the sunlight coming in on the side of the tent, screwing up my exhibit. So I may or may not be inside. It may depend. But come by and see our tent, and like other hacker spaces, Hack Pittsburgh. And Pumping Station 1, often, they're out of Chicago. They're a lot of them will have their individual tents with a bunch of exhibits from their space. So.
Okay, and it's like just that's the. So those are the things, like the projects of the people that come in and work on stuff, or like that's the stuff that's going to be. So that's the hard part. Like that's where I was having problems translating Maker Faire to somebody else. Is is it like a Comic-Con where you're walking around and there's booths of stuff that, well, here's this and here's, and then the next booth, here's this thing? Or is it, more of a wide open space that you just wander and find what you find?
Somewhere in between. I'd say it's a series of tents. Each tent tends to have some theme. Whether that theme is like, here's a bunch of people who are actually selling 3D printers, right, or laser cutters or CNCs, or a tent that is all three iDetroit members, right, or tents that are like, you know, there's like some merchant tents, right? Like if you want to go buy an Arduino or a BeagleBone or a Raspberry Pi, there's a tent and you can go buy these at the festival at a pretty good rate, right? Like, you know, or T-shirts, that kind of thing, electronics kits, basically anything that you see people doing there, you can probably buy like
the
that,
stuff
like,
to go
starter
do
parts,
that.
right? To go do that same thing.
Okay. And so what's the... Let me ponder that one. You were going to say something. I want to figure out how to phrase that question.
Yeah, I was going to ask, you know, getting back to the, your actual space, is there... you're talking about all the different material that companies and people and other members are donating. Like you got wood material, metal materials, all the different types of stuff. Is there like a trend that you're seeing that people are getting into? Like you brought a robot to the bar. Like, you know, is there a thing that, like, you know, people are getting into one particular aspect of building something with a particular material over another material, and then how much of that is like, oh, you know what, we've got, like, you know, a pile of stuff in the corner that nobody's been using for 6 months. What do we do with all this stuff?
Oh yeah, well, we do have the problem with no one at i3 needs another CRT monitor. Please don't ever bring those to us, right? That's not
so there is an issue, like, you know, like, say, okay, stop with the donating of the CRT monitors.
Yeah, exactly. That would be like an example of something we don't ever want in this space ever again.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Thanks. But no, as far as like raw material, we don't have really like a plethora of that. This stuff sits around for too long, and like sheet material really should be laying in a like vertically or horizontally, so that it doesn't like get all warped and stuff. So we don't really like keep an excess of material.
Okay.
If you bring your own material to work on, we got the tools.
So,
right?
if you want to build something and you know what it needs X, Y, and Z, you better be bringing X, Y,
I get
and Z.
sheets of plywood in the back of my minivan. I take the seats out and just keep it there.
I've got car seats in the back of my car. Not sheets of plywood.
I don't have kids yet, but so you just take you bring your own material.
Okay. Okay.
So and that was part of it. So that that $49 a month. I mean, is that just use of machines?
That's use of machines.
Sounds like it.
So not material.
And we have donation buckets around the various areas. So like there's certain machines like the laser cutter. I believe is 25 cents a minute of the time of the laser being on making its cut. And so when I make a cut, like one of my little robots that I showed you earlier, it takes about 9 minutes to cut one of those out. So I pay 25 cents times 9 minutes, and put it in the bucket every time.
So you're 2 1/4.
So you know, I got my 49, but I have like there's certain tools which like you're paying for the saw blade. So
because when you talk about like 3D printers, it's not like you can. Hey, I went and picked up a cartridge
really
of
cheap though. I was surprised. I was asking some of the 3D printer people, and like because I'm used to 25 cents a minute for the laser cutter, that's where I'm doing most of my prototyping. 3D printers, I was like, how much? Like, and he's like 10 cents per gram or something.
He's like pulling
that.
it out
I'm
of
like,
the air.
I weigh an action figure. No, I weigh the action figure. I was like, dude, this would be like seriously like $1 worth of material. It's like, yep. But the thing is, that machine's really freaking slow by comparison.
Wait, hold on. So you can, with your 3D printers, you can make an action figure for how much?
Really
Dom
cheap,
actually wants to make one of
really
those
cheap
demon
for
busts.
material, but time. Right, like so. It's a. I'm talking just pure the material costs. The time of that 3D printer printing that action figure is really
that's
long.
the issue.
The first one, right? The first one, and then you have the mold or whatever.
No.
Every time.
No, there is no mold for a 3D printer.
No, that's the thing with 3D printers.
So, but you've got injection mold machines.
We do have,
but that's different from 3D printing.
Yes.
All right. So you're going to print a.
So here's the difference.
Yeah.
So picture your printer at home.
Yeah.
And you're going to print 300 copies of something.
Right.
You have to sit there while the machine spits out 300 pieces of paper, and they're all unique pieces of paper.
Each action figure would probably take an hour.
Right. Okay.
Like,
whereas,
it might be really cheap for the plastic, but man, man-hour labor.
Yeah, it's going to take you like 9 weeks to get them done.
Whereas
the injection mold,
But it's like the reverse of like that's why Sam's Club you can buy a printer for $27, but the ink costs you $4,000. It's the reverse with 3D printing. Okay. The material costs you nothing, but at the time. The machine.
But have you noticed how easy it is to obtain a 3D printer lately? Freaking Micro Center around Metro Detroit has one. Home Depot's going to start carrying
12 Target Markets.
Freaking, what was it? Office Max
That's what I'm
was
saying. We
carrying
need to
them
buy
a couple
one.
months ago.
Yep.
Like, dude, do you realize that we are with 3D printers in the same era
It's
as
gonna
like
change
the
the world.
Commodore 64
It's gonna
in
change
the
the world.
80s, like early 80s?
I'm never washing another dish.
I'd want to print an alternator for a car so bad.
So when you print the figure, can it be painted on and you can make it?
Most of the time, it depends on what plastic you use. I don't know much in the way of like the PLC, PLA. There are guys who really know. There's conventions.
Yet again, we're
for
shaping
just this.
Dom's business over the course of this episode.
It's like what 50 seconds.
Because we know him, I know where his mind is going.
Oh yeah.
My wheels
does
are
everything.
spinning out of control right now. This is.
You got to come by I3.
I'm going to. I'm right down the street. I'll be there.
We'll grab a beer afterwards. We'll grab a mead afterwards.
We're gonna grab
absolutely.
Falling Down Beer Company.
Well, they're over at 10 and DeQuinder.
That might be a long walk.
They're down
but-
the road, but yeah.
I'll put this in a paper bag and walk down the street.
Yeah.
Which is not uncommon for Ferndale.
No.
Or Warren.
Or Warren.
What is this? Ninja? What was this?
Ninja Chicken?
Ninja Chicken. It's their best
Ninja
beer.
Chicken.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good pale ale.
Quite possibly the best beer name I've ever heard in my life.
Reminds me of Denim Chicken. Do you watch It's Always Sunny?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
It's a little obscure, but
So everything's out at i3detroit.com, and it's not
.org.
Oh,
.com
.org.
will
I was
we're
gonna-
an
I know you-
organization now.
I-
We
you-
started actually rebranding that.
I was going to say, I knew you had the .com and it redirected.
Yep.
So i3detroit.org and
MakerFair.Detroit.com.
Right.
If you're interested in Maker Fair. That has an E after the fair.
Right. It's Maker Fair,
They aren't actually
F-A-I-R.
recording Maker Fair without the E. I was a little disappointed at that.
Really?
Yeah, I tested that before the show, and I was like, man, I got to make it a point to make sure it's Maker Fair with an E.
Yeah, I actually have it that way in my notes. But yeah, so i3, it's not just that you have the tools and the toys and all that fun stuff. I mean, you have events there. You have stuff going on.
Yep.
You said there, first and third Tuesdays are your open membership. Hey, come on out.
Yeah,
and
it's
check
our
things
main
out.
meetings for business.
Right.
And BS.
So, what else? If I become an i3 Detroit member, what waits on the other side of the curtain?
Oh, man, what do you want to do? I mean, this is sort of like asking, like, you're joining a gym, right? And I assume it's because you
So
want
it's
to
Google
work
Plus,
out,
is
right?
what you're saying.
So if you're
Yeah, but Google Plus doesn't have a laser.
If you're going to join i3, I kind of assume it's because there's something you want to do or make or specifically want to learn about, right? Like, there's no shortage of members who know about Arduinos and BeagleBones and Raspberry Pis. And you were talking earlier about what is the thing that people are coming to us for. The truth is that I don't care if you're welding, metalworking, woodworking, or whatever. Everybody's putting a freaking computer inside of it, right? That term "Internet of Things" is kind of becoming a
more
term,
and more.
yeah, right?
There's a computer in my refrigerator, so
we're closer and closer to Skynet with every day.
I get irritated at my coffee machine when I have to flick a switch back and forth. I'm like, why shouldn't there just be a little circuit in here that detects this? And why should I be flipping it back and forth?
Yeah, why do you not know that I'm ready for more coffee?
Yeah, exactly. And so it's everything's getting a chip, and this is why I say to a lot of younger folks, dude, we need more software developers because everything's got a freaking computer in it.
Embedded engineers are harder and harder to come by.
And then the other flip side, and this is a very like a Maker Fair kind of plug, and I don't know any members of i3 Detroit who were members of i3 Detroit and unemployed any more than they wanted to be. It really, you kind of just sort of, because you're doing, right? People look at you from the outside. I know of companies that someone gets hired in, and then they bring another, unemployed i3 member in, and then their manager's like, hey, do you have any more of those i3 people for us to hire? And because we are doing...
We turn that into a revenue model, by the way.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is I really wish people would put more interesting things on their resume. Because, if you do a project in Maker Fair, put it on your freaking resume,
Yeah.
right?
We
Like,
tell
people
that,
will ask what it is, and that's a conversation
Built
piece.
killer robot might scare off HR.
Not the good kind of HR.
True, but the problem
not
is
for the kind of companies you really want to
True,
work
but they're few and far between. That's the conversation we've had a million
there's more
times.
and more. I would say more and more people have a good sense of humor for this kind of stuff. And I just know of other i3 Detroit members who are like, oh, man, I went to that whole freaking interview, and all I did was talk about i3 and, like, working in it, and I didn't talk about myself. I didn't talk about any of this stuff. And then they get the job.
Well, but that's reality 101. I mean, we've had this conversation a couple times now where if you're not employed or if you're, you've got a gap in your resume, don't have a gap in your resume. Be doing things, and be doing things that show your inquisitive side and your ability to solve things and do projects and that kind of stuff. And that's you're building stuff at i3.
Yeah, and like especially if you're like in the software development aspect of things, like GitHub is a great thing. I mean, even if you're not going to do GitHub specifically, even if you're going to run your own Git server, have a link to that on your freaking resume. Have git.yourdomain.com,
right?
And so that people can look at it, because that's like, man, it's really frustrating.
I
You
tell
get a
that to
job
people all the
like,
time for website development stuff. How do I get clients, or how do I have a portfolio if I don't have any clients? Well, create a fake.
Show your work.
Well, no, just have a fake portfolio, have a fake client. Do a work that demonstrates your ability. That's and in your case, you're actually building something. But in the software world, if you don't have that,
that's the thing. Forget the fake.
Yeah.
Do something like Maker Faire.
Right, exactly.
What's the stupid, useless thing that does something that's just entertaining?
Yeah.
Right? Do it. Like, build it. We're the submissions are done for this year, but dude, 2015. Like, have your widgamajig in Maker Faire. Like,
We do
that's an excellent resume.
holidayhockey.com. We will not charge, or we won't pay. If that helps.
All right, so hey, we're actually
we're actually over, aren't we?
Well, yeah, but nobody's here to stop us.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
it's one of those things.
Bob, I'm used to that. Bob saying, we're coming up on a break, and he's not here.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. We're down to the voice of reason, and you're not stopping me. So
to hell with
it.
This is the extended on the web edition, right?
Pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Like
Yeah,
Daily Show.
Yeah, we have gone to a segment 5 once.
We have gone
and
to
that
a
didn't go
segment
well.
5. Yeah, no, it was fine. Yeah, whatever.
All right, so Matt, everything you do is out at i3detroit.org.
Yep.
And Maker Faire with an E.
Detroit. Yep.
Maker Faire Detroit.
MakerFaireDetroit.com
with an E.
for the
.com.
upcoming event this weekend, this Saturday and Sunday.
And we'll have all the links out there, and that's over at the Henry Ford. That should be very cool to check out. Dom, with your 9 different businesses and everything you're going, we'll have all the links for you with Mess Bucket Comics.
MessBucketComics.com.
Yep, and everything else that we've got going on. We'll have all the information for CKC Agency out there. Us, as always, you can find at itandthed.com, .net, .org. We're at facebook.com/itandthed, Twitter at itandthed. That's us. This has been another show that really probably could go on for another hour or two if we didn't have jobs tomorrow to go to.
Well, every time we talk about 3D printing, we could talk for 6 hours. But, hey, I just want to say...
RoboCrop.
Oh, that's right. But, yeah, we're not going to get into that. But, hey, thank you very much to the Falling Down Beer Company for supplying the beer.
Absolutely.
It's very tasty.
Very.
Yeah.
Thanks
Love
for
it.
having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys, for joining us.
Yeah, we'll have all the links out in the recap tomorrow. Life will be good. And this is it. Thanks for listening, folks. Appreciate it.
All right. Beat it.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Look out, Flash!
Flash! Don't move! Stay where you are!
Long live Flash! You've saved your ass. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy.
Game over, man. It's game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
How much scotch did you drink that night, by the way?
Half a bottle.
Okay, then shut the hell up.
You're in your underwear, I'm in my underwear. Hey, let's hang out.
No, I'm sorry, honey. I have a headache.
I definitely want to see Bob in his underwear. That's a fact.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Bear me.
I
may have to wipe the geek off.
Yeah, so now I'm just like doing like stupid stuff to make me laugh.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
We just lost our clean tag on iTunes.
So you have no boots.
No.
You have no gloves.
No.
You have no hat.
No.
You have no scarf.
No.
You have no scraper.
No.
How long have you lived in Michigan?
All my life.
You, sir, are an idiot.
I don't care.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
This is the ladies' man.
Guess Captain Soundboard doesn't know how to run the soundboard.
Shut up. Stop talking.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it.
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.